I've been drinking for a long time now. I'm ready, nigga. I'm just trying to go fast like I'm Letty, nigga.
Folks, the
I'm just
Reality
trying to be
Guru, the
further
show
like
we
a
take
Letty,
a
nigga.
common-sensical approach to issues through complex conversation. You know, I'm your host, G. Cleve, and listen, folks, we got a nice show for you today. I know you got a familiar face. Y'all know who she is. This is Miss Tashi Hughes-Duncan from Tutor The Bronx. Oh, I'm sorry. Listen, your Facebook says it. So as long as the Facebook says it, I'm thinking it's open to the public. But yeah, this is
That's
yeah,
fine.
found the
Nothing to
Miss
hide.
Tutor the Bronx tutoring service, which she actually provides in the Bronx, New York. Just check out the name, and it's clear and simple. So, Miss Tashi, welcome back to Reality Gurus. How you feeling this morning?
I'm
That's good,
blessed.
good, good, good. Another thing, I know we said it off cam, but how was your Mother's Day? Did your Mother's Day go pretty well for you and everything?
It was very
Nice, nice, nice.
quiet. The
Oh,
book
oh,
came
good. As
out.
long as you get to
Yes.
do what you need to do on your day, there's no complaints. Well, folks, y'all see the title. Tutor the Bronx with Tashi interview. Uh, let's check this out, man. Let's back up a little bit. So Tashi, go ahead and because I've been really looking forward to having this conversation with you. So help us out, man. Tell us where the inspiration for Tutor the Bronx came from in the first place. Uh, Help us understand that.
Just the
Well,
name or
well, I
the
mean,
origin.
this is what we got you here for. Where am I messing up? What is Tutor the
All
Bronx?
right, so Tutor the Bronx is exactly the name of
Hmm.
what you're doing. So basically, I had different names in my head. One of the names was like builders and learners, and I felt like,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then I did some research and I found that there was other programs that had some sort
Right,
of name like that, and I was like, you know what? Let's keep it real literal.
right.
Tutor the Bronx. I'm a Bronxite. Um, and I love the Bronx. I even lived in other boroughs, and I moved back to the Bronx because I only wanted to raise my
Right.
children where I knew. Tutor the Bronx came about. Previously, I used to train when I worked in the government, so I loved interacting with people in a enlightenment capacity. And I would train the officers that had difficulty learning certain techniques and different things like that. Also did leadership training, and when push come to shove, all the way back to 2017, I had left the government for personal reasons, and I decided to start tutoring
Hmm.
on the side. And I was doing it, and I was having a good response. And one of the things that I had was inconsistency in customers because of the fact that I was willing to go to them, and in those areas that I would go to, I would meet people that wanted to deal with me but couldn't
Mm.
afford my services, even at my lowest rate, even with discounts. So it was like innately philanthropic in a sense when I was dealing with people. Um, Flash forward, I had some personal issues happen. Um, I had surgery, I
Mm.
had a car accident, and then my sister
Ooh,
passed away.
sorry
And
to hear that.
it was like a whole at one time. And I just couldn't do it. Like I just couldn't function. And so I just walked out, just walked away, left that job because I was just mourning and things was just going crazy. And I was like, maybe I should do this.
It's just that simple. Sometimes,
Yeah, and then but, when you start thinking like that, it's just like, okay, how do I do this? And one of the things that I learned is like I was just mashing the pavement, killing myself. It was an individual thing. It became a sport, like time management and stuff. But it, I've always been myself. I've always been a little girl from Webster Avenue. I came from immigrant roots, and I felt like I needed to give back to those people that really,
mhm,
really needed me, could not afford
right,
to pay me. I mean, Tutor the Bronx is still evolving and things have changed over just the last 2 years. But in concept, I started off with Mom on a Mission to Tutor the Bronx. And it's because I'm a mother. I always relate to, most of the time, I'm dealing with mothers. Sometimes I deal with moms and dads and,
mhm,
whatever, guardians. But I build a relationship just off the strength of that statement. Like, I'm a mom on a mission to Tutor the Bronx. And I just ran from there. So Tutor the Bronx was created with Bronxites of lower income in mind, all Bronxites, all children, honestly, because I've done other children if it was like a severe instance outside of the Bronx, but my primary focus is the Bronx. Bringing tutoring services to them, whether it be by me or other people or entities that I know that are of quality. I don't send anybody that I won't recommend myself or I don't know myself or entities I'm
mhm,
not comfortable with. Um, eventually I'll get to the point where it'll be free. But we're building and expanding right now with capacity building, and I've extended it to parental involvement via family literacy. So learning together, learning about how to interact with their child. The goal is to get them to ignore me and tutor their own child. Not me, or let me be, or let us be as tutors or educators be the last result in the home, and have them try different methods to get their children on point and on task. And if you start early, then you'll keep it consistent.
So is your focus going to be mainly on I guess as the program expands, is it going to be for primarily home visits, or you're going to want to have like a space where
Okay, so it's two prong. The first prong is and it's on our IG. Um, Eliminating the financial burdens of tutoring. So tutoring can be in any capacity. Any modality. It could be in home, at the center, in the library, virtual. I don't do all of them. At one time we were doing in home, but it's hard to get volunteers to do things for free in home. They'd rather come to one place and start, do their thing there, and it's most efficient. So we've kind of segued and actually stepped away from the in-home model because it's hard to get the consistency there. Okay, Bronx has we still have fees, but we're doing scaled fees. So if you're on cash assistance, which is like lowest income in New York City, then you'll get your services for free. And as you go on, it goes up from there. Our prices cap off at a very moderate, not even moderate, very low rate. So we provide that. The goal right now is to get our space and to provide that for individual sessions, small group sessions, and then large group workshops for children. That's the first prong. Second prong is the family literacy part, which is what I just explained a little earlier about getting parents to the point where they're comfortable with engaging in their child with in education. A lot of things that I speak to parents about, they know. They just they need somebody else to tell them. And they put in layman's terms and make it practical. That's part of the approach that I'm taking in regard to the family literacy part, is to get them to understand, like, it's not that hard. And when it is hard, when do we know the point at which we're supposed to ask for help and guidance and resources? We have to try at home first.
how do
So
you
that's the
market
second part.
the program? Like, where do you find your? Because I mean, if you're saying you have some challenges, first off, with parents being comfortable with you being in there, that kind of makes me wonder: are they even searching for a program like yours? If they're not, how did you find them? Comfortable.
Comfortable in what?
Well, I
Say
thought
it again.
so I don't misunderstand what you said. You were saying that first you got to first get the parents comfortable with you being in their child's lives as far as the education is concerned with the tutoring part. Are they comfortable with? I thought. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said. I'm sorry. I thought you said that they had to be comfortable. Well, then let's scratch that question, because I'm pretty sure that they're finding you. They must be searching you out. You must have your email.
Yeah, a lot of them either come through past or a lot of them come through Google. So they'll Google and I'll get a lot. Um, uh, when they're reaching out to me, they're interested. The comfortability part I was speaking about was about them feeling comfortable engaging with their child with regard to
Them.
education.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because a lot they put the job on the teacher, and that's it. So I always have to, reiterate that this is the teacher's 9 to 5. When they work their 8 to 2, which is their equivalent of a 9 to 5, when they go home, they want to deal with their own children, their own life. So it's on you to take on not the burden, but the onus is on you to continue that at home, however you can. If you can't, when do you know that you can't? What can't you do? How are you gonna mitigate that now? What are you gonna do? So I always talk about, like, the next steps in the process. See the teacher, see the principal, see the this, see the that in a sequence, so they know where to start.
Do you actually work with what age group of children do you, that comes through your program?
When it comes down to the family literacy, it's important to start with K, even pre-K to like 5. When you're dealing with middle school, high school, remember their foundations are already built. So if I'm meeting them at that stage, they have a lot of foundations already. So it's different. But I personally primarily focus on 1 to 6, which is what my certification will be in. And I feel like that's the foundational area. So if we build them from there, whether it be the children or the parents, they're gonna go they're gonna go streamline the process and how they parent with the academic perspective, all the way from, let's say, K to 12. Personally, I've tutored from kindergarten to age
Oh, wow.
64, GED, capstone, anything literary I've done. I'm not really a math tutor, so I have other people come in and secure the math. If it's anything beyond middle school, I'm
Gotcha,
not
gotcha.
comfortable in that area. But I don't do anything I'm not comfortable with. But again, anybody that works with me or works for me has to be
Right.
on par with me, or has to be at the same level of goal setting, and those just visionary wise, they have to be on the same part, and their
Right.
credentials have to speak
So,
as
okay.
well.
Oh, this is pretty good. So now, listen. Um, do you work with Department of Education at in any capacity?
I'm
Yeah,
actually doing that
because
now.
that's what I mean. Like, for a service like you, I would think, and that's why I asked about the marketing. It just seems simple to me for a service like yours. I go run to any public school in the Bronx, and you should be in high demand. Is that not the situation? Is it a lot more difficult for you to get involved with the Department of Education?
It's not difficult, but there's a lot of people doing it, and what happens is there's rules to certain things. So, for example, I think I said this on one of our shows that we had, but it was multiple, but it
Mhm.
wasn't just me and you. You go outside of one domain of service, you end up with a lot more oversight and registration, and that, all of that stuff,
Mhm.
which is fine. But most times they don't want to, unless they're middle school, high school, they don't want a
Mhm.
singular program. In the lower grades, primary grades, K to 5, they want enrichment. So they want multiple things. They want academic, they want enrichment, they want
Mhm.
recreational activity. I'm not doing that. My focus is academics, because one thing I feel is a lot of times when a kid is strong in academics, they go to after school, and they play games during the academic portion, and they just focus
Mhm.
on the play. So for me, I feel like those kids lose a little bit, not all, but some kids lose a little bit because they have enrichment as in the full
Mhm.
circle services, instead of a targeted service, which is
Well,
academics.
I have an issue then because I would wonder why the Department of Education would be making it so difficult when I continue to hear about these graduating classes or in New York City. There's constantly
Well, I can't say it's difficult because I haven't done the process yet. I'm doing the
okay,
process now. But like I said, that's the premise, is that they want it to be a full circle, you know, a global
right, right,
program. When they, like, let's say middle school, you have middle schoolers going to high school. They have high school entry exams. Then they want that. High school, they want career counseling. They want, then it's more focused and narrowed. But when it's primary school, which is primarily, what I focus on, which is the foundations, they want those schools that are more those programs that are more
hmm
comprehensive
hmm
than mine. And I would have to find a school that's willing and interested in what I have to offer, as opposed to, and I'm not going to say that there's not schools that aren't interested. I'm just saying I would believe that that's what the concern is, that I'm not full circle and fully comprehensive in that regard.
the clip that I saw on Instagram. Well, folks, just so you know, youtube.com/reality guru show. We're here with Tashi, her IG as a Tutor The Bronx, and also you can catch her on IG, Tashi in transition. Um, so I wanna understand this because like I said, um, these graduating classes and stuff are constantly having, say for instance, the class would be 500 kids. You'll hear about 90 or 100 of them potentially not graduating for regents types of things or something like that. I want to know why. What steps would like a program like you take to kind of get these kids, on tune as far as these regions. I just didn't realize, passing regions was such a hard thing. I really didn't know that. Like, well,
That's because the subject matter is not comfortable for the job. That a regents, I've taken regents when I was graduating from public school. It wasn't,
hmm
it's just an exam. But I think that the problem and the disconnect is that when the child fails the exam, how do you propose that child? review, repeat, redo that exam and be comfortable with the process in between. Because, for example, I have a young lady that I was tutoring for a little while, and she's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
take the global exam. She failed the exam, let's say last September. She's taking the global exam without any global classes in that first 2 trimesters, and then she's taking it at the end of June. There is a gap, a significant gap, almost 10 months between September and June or whatever, where she's not having regular global instruction. So you're putting it on her to take it in June, but she needs to now, her mother now needs to pay for a tutor to get her back on track with global, which she failed by a smidgen, all the way in June.
Well, okay.
That's
So what? So okay, all right. I haven't been in school in so many years, but are they not teaching to the test anymore? Because that's what I used to think. Okay,
oh
so
yeah, they don't teach to the test anymore. They do content. So you do your content, you take the regions, fine. You fail the regions, you are out of. For this child in particular, she was not taking any more global. She wasn't taking global classes. She just had to retake the region. So I'm assuming she passed the class but failed the regions. So if she took the test, let's say in September, for example, because I know someone's going to be like, oh, they don't take the test then. For example, she did not have continued global instruction from September to December, winter break, from January to June, and she's expected to take it in June without continued global instruction. That is a problem.
right. Well,
All of this stuff, she can look back at her notes, she can do, but instruction, they call it direct instruction, which is explicit instruction, is lost in between.
now who's responsible for that? Like, is that a? I mean, ultimately, the parents should be focused. But I'm thinking, like, if let's be honest, let's be honest.
That's not the parental problem. That is the way they program administration. They do
Okay,
administrative programming. I don't know exactly how it goes in the DOE. Like I said, I don't know. I usually work in non-public schools, which is fine. They do it a little different there. But if you have a lapse in continued instruction, you are more likely to not pass that exam next
gotcha,
time.
gotcha. All right. So last question. I'm not gonna hold you too long. The I like I said, I look at that clip that you had on IG, and it referenced special education students. Now,
Okay.
do you see here because I have an issue with that. Of course, throughout the years we've seen scholars, black scholars, kind of explain what the whole special education, uh, you know, vehicle is about, right? Um, do you find the true differences between tutoring individuals who come through the so-called special education versus those who are in general classes? I guess.
Well, that's my area of
Mhm,
specialty. I'm actually finishing up my degree in that area of
mhm.
for special ed. So yes, there is a difference in you talking about the teaching part or the
It could
children
be a
themselves?
combination of both. Like when you start, if and because you mentioned special ed, I was wondering if this is something that was geared towards the kid who's been labeled as special. I don't subscribe to the whole special education thing. Uh,
I
so
see.
again, but I mean, being that you're in this field, I just kind of want to understand how it is that with someone with a program like you, how do you view that part of it? Do you really okay? Are your curriculum geared to, or let's say watered down in some sort of a way because of a child? And that's really what I'm getting at. Is there a different curriculum for special education versus your general classes? Okay.
No, they call it okay. So in my as a provider, because I do freelance, I do it as in at
Mm,
non-public schools. So as a provider, I don't adhere to dumbing down any work. I want them to get concepts. I want them to be able to work that
mm,
forwards and backwards. Okay, that's why the clip that you saw, you see me doing different things, different ways, and speaking
mm,
about it differently. That differentiation can benefit a special education student or a general ed student. They have different things, and it's really a little complex. But to explain it right quickly, you start from zero and you go to 4. There's something called RTI, which is response to intervention. So they provide interventions. Let's say in a public school, that's 0 to 4. When a child goes from 0 regular to 4, as in severity of needs, you get to that 5, for example, that's special ed. But they have to be classified as such. So they go through the evaluation process, and that's 1. So when you have a classification, the classification tells us, meaning classification as in they have a learning disability, which would include dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, certain things. And then you have behavioral, then you have health, then you have, it's different things. It's 13 categories that you have to learn, and each category has subcategories within it, right? And for me, I would, as a person outside looking in prior to getting engaged in this domain, I would be like, well, what's the difference? There's a lot of difference, and it's not something we can talk about here, right? But generally, you go from 0 to 5. 0 to 4 is a standard non-SWD or non-student with disability, and 5, when you jump off that cliff, it's special ed because they need more instruction. So now, with regard to my clip that I had on IG, I talked about special education students leading. The clip that you saw online, which is a great clip, by the way. I try to show parents that there's ways to learn different things, different ways, and that there's a disconnect naturally, whether it's a SWD, which is student with disability, or a non-SWD, which is an average learner, right? Fine. When you jump off of that 1 to 4 and jump off to that 5, where they are deemed special education, which I don't really care for that term. I call everyone a learner because we're all learning every day. They are more likely than not to need tangibles. They are more likely than not for you to use the tricks of the trade. They have to have that, as opposed to a child that is standard learning levels or within the norms. They may not need that.
Gotcha.
That's the difference. So we call differentiated instruction or scaffolding instruction, where you say, this is how we learn A, B, C, and D, or John may need D, C, E, A, B. They're still learning the same thing. It's just in a different order, in a different way, conveyed differently. Now, when a teacher dumbs it down to the point where he may not get all the same content, that depends on the severity of their classification or disability. They have children that are severe and multiple, that are in wheelchairs, that have orthopedic issues, that have lose an eye, have no hair, have DOD, HOH, hard of hearing. You have VI, which is visual impairments. It's different levels to it. But when you're dealing with a standard child that you would see in an everyday classroom, they typically have things that allow for them to stay in a normal classroom. So not that their information is, or this, it's not that their schoolwork is dumbed down. It's just taught a different way and maybe in a different order, but the same concepts are taught.
Got you. Well, folks, we've been going for a little while, and we'll go ahead and jump right into final thoughts. So we are here with my girl Tashi from Tutor The Bronx. Make sure you follow her on IG at Tutor The Bronx and Tashi in transition. So now we in final thoughts. Tashi, is there anything you want to plug? With your organization, anything, just plug it. Social media. Go ahead. This is the time to do that before we get out of here.
Okay. So in the next few months, I'm going to be ramping up a whole lot of things. In June, we're going to have an information session about our SAT ACT program. I decided to bring this over here because I already teach it, and it's a lot of the tricks and stuff that I know are very important and help build a student's ability to score higher on the SAT. So if they have a certain amount, let's say 20 hours, an average 20 hours of prep outside of school, they average about 100 points if they follow instruction right. And that's standard research. My students may do a little more, but we have an expert coming in from another program that I know of. He's going to do the math and I'm going to do the reading. So we're partnering. Also, that will be in September. It's 6 weeks, and it does have a fee, and it's a nominal fee. Nothing compared to Princeton, which is $8,900, and Kaplan, which is $5,200 at the high end. So we're just doing something quick and easy for kids from someone who's relatable Bronxite to Bronxite, so they can come and get their service regarding the ACT, SAT, and maximize their score. And that's available. The information is available on tutorthebronx.org. We haven't put up the flyer yet, but if you want to look, you can look and see the price. Also in August, every year I plan on doing this in perpetuity. I plan on doing backpack. We call it backpack to school events and giveaways. This year, I think I'm going to stick to one or two opportunities to give out the supplies and stuff. If you would like to donate, you can donate directly via our website and just put in the notes that this is for the backpack to school, and we'll allocate it to that funding pool. We have not really started soliciting donations, but you can send the donations over. And like I said, put the note in there. I'll know exactly that it goes for that, and we won't interject it into operating costs at all. We have nominal operating costs, nothing major. What else? And I have something big coming up. I just want y'all to follow my page. Follow my personal page. It's Tashi_N_transition. And tutorthebronx.org is the website. Tutor the Bronx on IG and Facebook, and everything goes on there, especially Tutor the Bronx at IG. You'll see all of the happenings. Check out IGTV. That's where I want to do mini lessons, Greg. So that little things about learning that they can kind of implement at home.
Listen, Tashi, I'm glad you finally got a chance to get here. Got this information out. Folks, pay attention to what's going on with this young lady doing some dynamite things on IG and just in the Bronx in general.
Yeah.
So, you folks, you know how this goes. Make sure you check out that youtube.com/reality guru show. Consider subscribing and make sure you hit that bell notification. I am tired of y'all missing all this good content. On behalf of the reality gurus, it's Tashi and Tutor the Bronx. I'm G Cleve. Take care.